So we return. I mean, we're deflated right now. We're deflated. It's Tuesday evening. But I will say we have a great episode for you guys. A lot of our real opinions come in the interviews. So we will touch on the game now, spit it into David Eichel and Brady Ross. Great guests. Very excited. We're going to be doing our live show with Eickholt. But Brady Ross will be in Iowa City this weekend for Michigan State. So if you see him, say what's up to Brady Ross. Great guy. Can't miss him. It sucked.
It was tough. It was wasn't a fun game to watch. It was definitely a bummer. But like you're saying, it's definitely a burn the tape game for sure. It's a move on to Michigan State, and you got to make Michigan State a statement game. This is probably Brady Ross talks about it. It's almost more pressure for this game, just because it was a game, bad loss, but you got to move on from it. And now it's one of those games where you come in saying we could either show that we have moved on and take steps forward and try and get to that 10-2 or 11-1 season. And yeah, I mean it's tough in general. It's tough to talk about. It's a bummer. It was a tough game to watch, but shit happens.
It felt like the Michigan game, the Big Ten Championship Michigan game, where it was so deflating. Like, it felt like you had a chance at the beginning if we weren't turning the ball over. And then finally, it was like the defense must be the most conditioned athletes on the face of the planet to be out there that long.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's tough to put your defense in that spot where they're out there so long and having to try and continually not give up as many points as they can. But when you give those guys that many opportunities, especially a team like Penn State, it's pretty hard to do.
They were better in all aspects except the punter. El-Ray's athlete of the week, Torrey Taylor.
100%. Not even a question. He was definitely the MVP of that game. I mean, I would give it to the defense because they were out there for so long and they're freaking. I mean, they were giving it their all. It's tough. Penn State's got a great offense, but you know what? This is why I love being an Iowa fan, because I know we were supposed to lose that game. Like, obviously we were supposed to lose that game, but you go into every game, even that kind of game at a whiteout, thinking there's a chance we win. And it's in the past proven that you can go in every game thinking that, because we have beaten Ohio State by 35. We beat Penn State when they were number 3 and we were number 4. I mean, anything can happen. And that was statistically supposed to happen. And it just you wish we could have put points on the board. We just had too many turnovers. We had too many mistakes that you want to go back. And I'm sure as a player after that game, you just want to change all those and not have that happen, but you can't. It's in the past. You got to look forward and figure out what happened and how you can fix that and make sure it doesn't happen again. So,
yeah, and I know I didn't play football at Iowa, so I'm not supposed to have an opinion, but it was very frustrating watching it. But on the bright side, I'm a journeyman, dude. Like, we talk about it later. Going to Indy, greatest time of my life in 21. That was so much fun. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. If we go like 11-1, 10-2, anywhere in there, it would suck to go 10-2. By the way, the rest of our schedule is awful. Yeah. Like, I would still be pretty down with another loss. Might even hurt more because we were supposed to lose to Penn State, but not by that much.
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to make the Big Ten title, go to Indy, celebrate with all people. Twitter's a blast to scroll. So, I mean, I love the crazies on Twitter after the losses. Passionate fan base is the best fan base to be a part of, because when I was down south in Dallas, every fan base, and I've touched on this previously, every fan base was, we should be up by 14 or I'm going to be tweeting obscenities all week.
Yeah.
Where Iowa, I love the journey. They're like, we want to win. We want to score points. It's very simple. Like, we know our defense and special teams are good. Just score and win.
Right.
That's all we want.
Yeah.
Some weeks we can't have that, all right? And it's a tough life.
It is, man. But you know what? I agree with you. The journey it's a fun journey. Even though there's some dips, there will be some ups. And I think there'll be plenty of ups. And I think we got a path where it can be a trend upward the whole way. There may be little dips there, but I think we hit our biggest one of the season. So hey, positive outlook on the future of the schedule this year.
That's right. I don't know what it was. Saturday night, I was so positive after our loss. I don't know if it's because, like, I don't know, you hit a couple bets, you're happy. But Miller Lite also helped make me a little happier, I guess. But
right,
golly, it was by Sunday and Monday. Monday felt even like worse about the loss. It was tough. Bright side, CBS. So glad we have a TV deal with them.
Yeah, so sweet to have that. At least we're getting games on big stages like that.
We have NBC this week, I think.
Yeah. Hey,
this is the first Kinnick at night since the Penn State game, I believe.
Is it?
The Nico Spencer catch.
It might. Yeah. Honestly, I love that. I love that they're putting this as a night game because now it's going to fire people up to go to this game and it's going to fire the players up especially. Because I'll wait because I know we're going to have a debate on this and we got some questions. You got some questions coming up, but
yeah. Final thing I want to say: opening line. If I'm not mistaken, I saw it at 6.5 for Michigan or us to beat Michigan State, so -6.5. The line's at 12.5 right now, so like I think they're expecting a statement game from Iowa. I'm gonna say it right now. This is a must cover.
Must cover. Yeah, I think
must cover.
I think this is a must double cover. I think we need to. What you said? What did the line switch to? It went from 6.5 to what?
It's at 12.5. So we got to win by 2 touchdowns essentially.
Yeah, and I think they should do that. No problem.
Yep,
they should.
I'm gonna feel worse if we don't cover. I would say.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. But yep. I agree.
I think that's a good statement. You know what? Let's do it. Let's double down. We didn't beat Penn State, so $500 that I'll raise on us out the window. Let's double down. If we cover this week, $500, first $500 of drinks that I'll raise on us after our live show.
You can tell we want you guys to. We want to win, and we want you guys to have fun with us when we're doing our live show. So it's definitely an incentive for more cheering, more investment into the game.
I think the most fun part that we haven't gotten to experience because we both, I mean, you still live kind of far, but the fan interaction is a blast. So when we're there, let's just go to El Rey's, have a blast. I mean, we're going to be out all night, Friday, Saturday. We want to just have a blast. So you guys bring it. We're also the Reganey tailgate. We're going to be bringing a ton of beer too, throwing it out to the crowd.
Yeah.
So that's
how awesome is it? Honestly, we've talked about this. 2:30 kickoff. Can't beat that for Purdue, man. That's a great kickoff.
That will be, and luckily we're going to it because it's on Peacock. But
yeah,
that sucks.
That does. I saw that. Like, I wonder if it would have been on Peacock if we would have put up like 14.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't know, because of the Penn State game, and they're like, maybe they're not ready to be on the CBS main stage yet.
Yeah.
So we'll throw them on Peacock, give them a little comeback game. But yeah, no, it's gonna be a flipping riot, man. And hey, it's what is it? Today's Tuesday. We're filming this Tuesday. It'll come out tomorrow. Basically a week until we're there.
And we'll circle on a map of like the Kinnick parking lot where live show is going to be at the Reganey tailgate. But, yeah, it'll start at 12 o'clock, so noon. Probably go till 1. Give us an hour and a half to get our game face on, head into Kinnick, and we'll go get a win against Purdue.
Yeah, exactly. And even like noon, if you don't know Kinnick, if you don't know Iowa City that well, and you don't know where we're talking about on the map, if you're at the stadium and you look across, there's a hotel that's literally across the street, just over the bridge across from Stella's. The Reganey tailgate where we're going to be at is probably one of the first tailgates you'll see heading towards that hotel on the street you go down. So you'll see it.
It's kind of by like the southwest gate, like
Yeah.
the student section. Yeah,
you can see the gate from there.
Yeah, man, that's going to be a blast. Debate for you. So one of the weddings I went to this summer, it was some of my cousins and uncles were sitting there, right? The question came up, how many hours does it take you to get over an Iowa loss? Coop, you experienced it as a player and now as a fan. Do they differ, or how does that work for you now?
You know, it's interesting because, and I actually didn't think, I thought about this after the game. It's kind of, I would say it can go both ways in terms of, like, as a player, I think these guys are going to be thinking about that game even after, say, they go out and stomp Michigan State. Like, it's going to feel good, but in the back of their head, they're like, damn, that loss is there, which is going to give them some fire to go out and kick some ass the rest of the season. But in general, like, you're taught, I mean, the meeting after the game, it's put them to pass, like, instantly. And that's every game. Like, after a big win, like, you're going to feel good for a while. But as soon as you hit that next game, then it's like, all right, how am I going to feel after this one? Am I going to feel like we made strides as a team, we feel better, and we're happy we won? Or worst case, they go out and lose this game. This one's going to hurt worse than that last one, because as a player, you're thinking this is a game that we need to win to show that we are capable of doing well in the West. So kind of going off that tangent, I think as a player, you do forget about it quicker, because I will say I was bummed out pretty heavily. Like, I was mad, bummed out until probably we started this podcast tonight, because
I still am. So
yeah, like when you're a player Monday,
I can't give my number yet. I'll figure that out. I assume it'll be Saturday at like 10 p.m. after we crush Michigan State.
Right, exactly. But like as a player, you're already practicing on Monday, game plan for a new team, so your mind's off of it, and you have to get your mind off of it because you need to focus on the game that's ahead of you. So I'd say as a fan, you definitely think about it longer than you do as a player. It hurts more as a player because you put in more time and effort than the fans do to win that game. But yeah, you got to move on. And as a fan, you got to move on too, because you got to get excited about the next game. So yeah, it's definitely different takes, but
I think it depends who we lose to and how we lose. That one I'm not getting over that well, because it's like, man, there's so much hype. I do think we go 11-0, but we just didn't look great by any means.
Yeah, happens.
Previous years though, it's like, all right, bounce back, let's go get them. I don't know. This one's different, man. It hit
different. I do think historically, I could be wrong on this, but coming off that kind of loss, I think this game could be a fun game to watch this Saturday. So
this is the perfect bounce back game. Mel Tucker, loser. He's gone. He's gone now. So is it still Mark D'Antonio as the interim?
No.
He did the first game, yeah.
D'Antonio did? I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. He did the first game.
Interesting.
There were some conspiracy theories that he was pulling the strings behind the scenes. You know, he looks like the good guy now.
Who knows? Well, dude, I will say when D'Antonio was there, that was a different breed of Michigan State. That was a different team.
Yeah.
That was a dominant. That was a playoff team, but then even in the playoffs, it was like poop. So
yeah, they got murked by Bama that year. That was a tough Big Ten championship game.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, but and their pasty sucks. We talk about that too. So let's get the receivers some touches. I think the only way to feel good coming off this game, off Michigan State, would be heavy pass attack, score a lot of points, and bury them. Like run it up like Oregon ran it up on Colorado.
Major run up there. That was bad.
That was great, man. Other than that, what else, do you have anything else for us?
No. Are we doing a draft tonight?
Yeah.
We can do restaurants. Why not? It's something.
All right.
Let's get our mind up. We talk a lot of football in this podcast, especially the one tonight. So we're trying to figure out a draft. We've done a lot of Iowa City stuff. We're digging deep. This is pretty basic, but we're going top restaurants. Okay, so are we going to say
sit down restaurants? Has to be sit down. No,
I say we do. Let's go breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Oh yeah, all right. I love that. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, sit down restaurants. You start. Also, main voting is on Instagram. It's been heated. It's actually 1-1. So me and Cooper tied for wins. Yeah, I took last one with one vote.
That was bullshit. I'm sorry. Your list sucked last one. I should have won that blowout.
I shit stomped you with dollar drinks.
Yeah, but I think Spoko's it's undefeated. It's 21 free pitchers.
But
whatever.
The best times in college, dollar drink night, airliner pitcher on Thursday to get your weekend started.
Okay. Well, see, I didn't do any of those. I never had a chance to go to either of those.
Yeah.
So that's why I whatever. You win. 1-1. We'll
1-1.
See what the final record is at the end of the year.
Vote on our Instagram story this week. It'll be on Thursday. We'll post it.
Bingo. All right. I'm going first, though, because you went first last time.
You go first. Breakfast.
So I could either go personal opinion here, or I could go triangle crowd favorite.
Go. It doesn't have to be in order of breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
You have to have one of the three, though.
Yep.
Ooh, okay, that's actually interesting because that could leave some stuff open. Oh, damn, I don't know anymore. You know what? You go first.
All right, there we go. Number 1, Bluebird. Oh, wow.
Weak.
That's such a great breakfast diner. The line's always out the door.
Okay.
The food's good. And I feel like that's an Iowa City staple. All right.
You're going Bluebird. Okay. So you went breakfast first. I am going to go. So we're saying like Estella's, that's all off the table.
Right? Yeah, you got to sit down, like you bring your family for a sit down.
Okay. Basta.
Ooh.
Basta. I'm going to take that as my dinner option.
It's crazy. I never ate there in college.
That is insane because
never once.
It's a solid, it's not too expensive. It's an Iowa City Italian restaurant. And it's a nice, you can go on a date there. You can bring your family there. We used to go there for Black Card all the time. We used to get what do they have? Burrata for appetite. Oh man, dude, it was different. Pasta, gas. The people were great there. Service great, food great. You could sit outside right on what's that street called? I can't remember that street.
Iowa Ave, I think.
Iowa Ave. You sit out on the patio. You have a perfect view of the Capitol building. Great spot. So I'm gonna go Basta.
All right, I like that. This is gonna be my lunch pick. Shorts Burger. That's a great choice. Shorts Burger. You can either get it in a wrap burger, and the choices were just so good. Like everything on the menu was great. It got you feeling good the rest of the day. And it's a great vibe in there too. Grab a beer. We had that on our fraternity meal plan, and every week that was what everyone looked forward to.
Okay.
We also had Summit on there.
Great second choice for lunch.
They had good pasta, I'll say it.
Really?
It's messed up, but they had a good baked penne.
That is a wild choice. But okay, I might just go at you. I might just go at you for my draft. Because for my lunch choice then, I'm going to take Stella, which is the sister restaurant to Shorts. Stella owns Shorts, and it has the exact same menu except more. Shorts was a limited menu downtown. The reason why it was so popular was because it was downtown. Stella had the exact same menu, except it had more things on it.
But it's so hard to get to.
Who cares? We're talking about food. We ain't talking about how easy.
I know. I'm saying that should be negative 5 points just for how hard it is to get to. Shorts is a better option because of location.
All right, fine. If we're gonna, can I change mine? Then we're gonna do only downtown restaurants. You fucker.
Nope.
All right, I'll stick with Stella. I love Stella.
I might have just checkmated you right there.
No, you didn't check me because they have a bigger menu.
You got beat so bad you want to change your option?
No, because I thought we were No, I'll stick with it. Pasta, Stella. Now I need a breakfast. You're up.
All right, I like it. My dinner option. I think there's actually so many good dinner options in Iowa City.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to do it, though. The old reliable Chop House. Chop House was great. Always somewhere you wanted to go for Parents' Weekend. It was either Chop House or Joseph's.
Yeah.
Chop had more seating, I feel like. But it was great. The menu, you could even go in for lunch. Great drinks, great food. Any announcers who go to town also go to Chop House on Friday night. So
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it was like Herb Street was calling a game and they were talking about how they went to Chop House the night before.
Oh, that's good shit. Chop House is awesome.
Great.
We used to
great spot.
We got Chop House is one of the companies that catered for our dinners. And they had some good, they bring some good stuff.
That was another one on our limited. It was a limited menu for our fraternity lunch plan.
Yeah.
So you could either get the chicken coop or the like the mac and cheese.
Okay. I like it.
Electric.
All right. Are you went first? You did all three already, so this is my last. All right. I'm torn for this one. Actually, no, I'm not. I have a clear number one. And I may be partial to this place because my name was on the menu for a while. I think it was like a year or two. They might have taken it off, which kind of sucks, but it makes sense because nobody ordered it because it was a pretty specific thing. I'm going to go Dandelion. I freaking love Dandelion. Always will. Tommy, the man, was always the coolest too when we walked in there. Great service, great people. Their food was phenomenal. Their pancakes, this is where my name was on the menu. Coop it up. They used to make them like, if you've ever been to Cracker Barrel, it's like crispy on the edges, but not too crispy in the middle, but it was like a soft pan. Oh man, it was phenomenal. So I got it to the point where I would order it so many times that I think we talked Tommy into putting it on the menu. So underneath the pancake order, you could say you want it cooped up. It just meant a little crispy. But I mean, honestly, I follow them on Instagram. They post they have these special, I think it's on Wednesdays, and they look phenomenal. Like it is, I'm so bummed out I'm not there anymore because I think they just started doing it. It looks incredible. And I spent a shit ton of money there. And a lot of money. To the point where I think I was like a sophomore. There was a month where I was there 2 times a week by myself. I'd go study there. I'd try and study, but I just end up chugging coffee and pounding pancakes. Probably why I gained like 20 pounds of not muscle. But yeah, I love dandelion to this
Coop
day.
it up. I wonder if it's still on the menu.
I don't think it is. I think my friends went back and someone sent a Snapchat. I'm pretty sure they took it off.
Oh,
It's
brutal.
probably I hate to say it, but a waste of space for the menu. Sucks.
All right. Well, we have 2 big interviews going for this episode, and then 2 live shows next week for the Purdue. Be checking our Twitter, our Instagram. Follow us at Men on Melrose. Also, this will be on YouTube and all streaming platforms moving forward. So check those out. Like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. Tweet at us. We love hearing from you guys, and enjoy the rest of the episode. All right, we have the University of Iowa's biggest homer, Nebraska graduate, David Eichel, joins us today. David, we'll start out on a good note here because obviously Saturday sucked. I actually had a dream last night that we lost to Michigan State, so it's still haunting me. On a positive note, how was Happy Valley? It looked like a fun trip.
Dude, it was a very quick trip, obviously. First of all, there's no trip in the Big Ten that's more of a pain in the ass to get to than Happy Valley. I mean, I had to take like 3 separate flights. I landed in a town that was like 45 minutes away still. But the atmosphere is not like what you expect, at least the surrounding area around Happy Valley. There was a lot of hills. It was very green. But like I will say, dude, Penn State, it's pretty special, dude. Of 110,000 people there, being there during a whiteout, the atmosphere is probably among the best I've ever seen, regardless of college sports, professional sports. It was pretty compelling. And I even took some time to leave the press box and went down to like one of the stadium. There's like an easy way from the press box to get into the main stadium area. And I'm like, this is a lot. It's just massive, dude. It was unbelievable. So it's always interesting too. Over the years, I feel like a lot of Penn State players have said that their favorite place to play is Iowa, and like it's the loudest place. I think a lot of Iowa players would say the same thing. Their favorite place they'd ever played at was Happy Valley. So, for as much as Iowa, wants to hate Penn State, and I think they do. I think there's a lot of real hostility there between the 2 fan bases. It was pretty unbelievable.
It looked so sweet. And CBS, unreal intro going into the game. They had like a 4-minute like highlight film of players, old games, and then just right into Penn State coming out. It was incredible on TV.
Yeah. It was weird, dude. They did the national anthem like 25 minutes before kickoff. Like I had to like look back twice because usually it's like 3 or 4 minutes before the teams get on the field. So that was weird. And then the other part of it was, I don't know if this was on purpose or if it was a mess up, but Iowa swarmed out onto the field the same time as Penn State went on the field. And our Penn State guys said they've never seen that happen before. So I'm just like,
that was on purpose.
Yeah, I wonder if Iowa was just like, you know what? No, we're not handling this, dude. It reminded me of, I think it was like 2018 or 2019, Nebraska went on the field during the national anthem. In the middle of the national anthem, and they got booed hard during that. Yeah, I think it was Frost's first or second year, because I remember that was a huge talking point after the game.
Yeah, the disrespect of Scott Frost.
I think a lot of like my message boards just like Nebraska is no longer a part of the United States, and there's like a bunch of like beer guzzling, like yelling about it. It was so funny.
Wait, so you graduated from Nebraska?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like I don't know much about you. Like
that's good.
Give us the listeners everything, some background.
Yeah, so my parents are Iowa natives. So I was born in Sioux City, and then I moved to Nebraska when I was 2. And then I lived in St. George, Utah, which is like 2 hours from Vegas, about 45 minutes away from Zion National Park, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. I lived there for 10 years, and then I moved back to Nebraska my senior year of high school, and then I went to the University of Nebraska. But, like, my parents are diehard Iowa fans. Like, I followed Iowa football. I followed Big Ten football. So, like, the transition to go from, covering Nebraska for a couple of years to Iowa, it was pretty seamless. And, like, I kind of understood the culture of Iowa football. I understood the fan base, the traditions, and a lot of that right away. So that's – to dumb it down as much as I can, that's the easiest way I can explain it. But I've kind of lived in a few places, and I've traveled around quite a bit. But
okay,
yeah, man, Iowa's different. Iowa's special for sure.
So graduating from Nebraska, now that you're covering Iowa sports and everything like that, have you ever thought back and been like, damn, what would it have been like if I went to school at Iowa instead of Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at going to Iowa, and then there's a thing called tuition. And it was about 4 times the cost to go out of state. And so I'm just like, dude, even with my scholarship, I'm just like, I'm not doing this. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life though either. Like, I didn't get into sports writing until my junior year of college.
Dang.
So yeah, so I was a business major, and I was thinking about going into like theater and like acting and stuff like that. Cause I went to performing arts high school for 3 years in Utah, but yeah, then I didn't want to be stuck in an office or any of that. So I'm like, all right, well, naturally I got an 18 on my ACT in English. So I'm like, I'm going to be a writer.
That's
like, hell yeah, dude, let's do it. So it all worked out though, obviously. But yeah, so it again, it's been so interesting covering Iowa though too, just because they're passionate about football and basketball. And, there's a lot of really good stories at Iowa. I mean, since I've been here, think about Caitlin Clark on the women's basketball side, right? You think about Luka Garza, what he did. You think about, look, I know, and I've always said this too. Imagine if you took Phil Parker's defense and Fran McCaffrey's offense and you put them together on the same team.
Be unstoppable.
That'd probably be the greatest dynasty that's ever hit college athletics, right? Honestly. Right. And then LeVar Woods, of course, on special teams. Because I think he is starting to get some attention around the nation, but LeVar Woods and what he does on special teams at such a high level, it's always been one of the more interesting and I think underappreciated storylines when it comes to Iowa, because I've never seen a guy go through that much film on strictly special teams. And then, if a punt block happens, if a kickoff return happens, punt return happens, after the game, the players always say, oh, LeVar Woods saw that on film and set up something specific. And the way he's able to do that is absolutely incredible, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I spent a lot of time because, the receiver spent a lot of time in the receiving room, but I played more at punt return than I did receiver. And Coach Woods dials some crazy shit up. Like, he knows everything. And like you said, I think he is getting the attention he deserves now that they're starting to see how good our special teams actually is. And it's not just like the key role players on our special teams being like a punt return and a kick return, but it's like the gunners and the front blockers on a kick return. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Like, I actually just had a video come up in my Snapchat memories of like all the punt returners the day. So it was the Wednesday night practice, or the Wednesday practice. That night we go into his room and watch like an hour of film. Him just like watching every single play from the punter, like the punters that were playing.
Yeah.
And, like, all their tendencies, where they're kicking it. And like when I get in there, he'd be coaching some of the guys on like kick return. And I have a video of him and like him coaching Castro to do something on kickoff, but he's going full speed against him in the hallway. Like, it was hilarious. Like, it was, but like that's the type of coach he is. Like, he's very intense in what he does. He knows what he's doing, and he makes sure that person he's coaching knows what they're doing too. So it's pretty wild.
I feel like he's such a player's coach though too, because he just strikes me as, I've had a couple, off the record. Obviously like off the record conversations or around him at media day or whatever. He strikes me as such a bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, his weird, like he really does.
Well, no, and like that's the thing is like he is outside of football, absolute bro. Inside of football, like he knows what needs to be done. He makes sure you get it done, and he knows how to motivate you. Like, he's just, like you said, he's a good player's coach, but he is an absolute bro. Like, he's the man. He's a great dude. But yeah, no, I love Coach Woods.
That's awesome.
I guess we got to get into the tough stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened. That was maybe one of the most deflated I've felt. Luckily, Miller Lite kept me going until Sunday morning, and then it was like, oh wow, that was a tough loss. But what I want to hear your thoughts now, David. You obviously get wild emotions in your Twitter mentions.
I don't know what you're talking about. All my followers are beautiful, rational people who know the game of football.
I want to get your thoughts after you get to hear everything all weekend. Where is our ceiling? Where is our floor now? And what have you seen from just all around the facility today with media days? What's the vibe like now?
I think they're very careful with their words. I think this loss is easier to kind of move on from, considering that it was not a Big Ten West team. I mean, at the end of the day, like Penn State would have been a momentum booster. It would have been a season changer. But this really doesn't change anything, as strange as it sounds. I mean, I think it can serve as a wake-up call. It's been interesting kind of listening to some players today. Logan Jones brought up Cade McNamara basically stood up in the locker room post-game and was like, you know what, we got punched in the mouth, but how are we responding to this? And he gave like a big kind of speech. And there was kind of a moment in the press conference when he just said, I believe my whole heart, this is not who we are. We're going to come back from this. We're going to turn around from this. And I've never felt older in my life, by the way. Like, it was me and I think Mitch Fick, and does a really, really good job for Iowa News Now, right? We were talking to Logan, and Mitch had kind of mentioned, it was almost Tebow-esque, and he brought up the famous Tim Tebow speech, "We're never going to see another team work harder," or any of this. Logan didn't know what we were talking about. Mitch and I stopped and like looked over at each other, and I'm like, dude, I think I feel like gray hair is coming out of me now. Like, I've never felt so old in my entire life. But that's kind of the vibe I got, that, I think this, I don't want to say woke Iowa up, but I think there's a lot of pressure right now. I mean, you can't sugarcoat it. In my opinion, it's one of the worst losses in the Kirk Ferentz era from this standpoint. This is worse than Ohio State last year. I feel like we kind of knew what Iowa was at that point last year when the Ohio State game happened. I think the majority of people knew that going into that game was going to be ugly. Now, look, I don't think anybody anticipated 54-10, especially after Joe Evans completely rocked CJ Stroud and got that touchdown. But you think about it, with all the punchlines surrounding Iowa's offense, and honestly, it's right. Right now, the narrative's correct. As much as people hate it, every statistic backs up poking fun at Iowa's offense. They had a chance to kind of turn that around. And then you go on national television on CBS. I think it's the first time in years that Iowa's been on CBS, right? And to go out there and put up 70 yards in the set, you guys, none of us played in Iowa's offense this weekend. We all had 12 more yards than Iowa in the second and third quarters combined. They had negative 12 yards. And you look at the drive chart. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, fumble, punt, 3 and out. And Penn State runs 97 plays. The statistics are insane. And you think about Iowa's lack of usage of the wide receivers right now is the number one story, and you can't blame them. Now, look, I do think it all starts up front. The offensive line has not made progress, which is really strange considering Kirk was very confident about it in Big Ten media days and Iowa media days. He talked about the maturity of the line. So I think the foundation that's made Iowa football respected is cracked right now. And the narrative's not going to go away. I mean, Iowa, I still think, I don't want to say they're the Big Ten West favorites. It's going to be whoever wins the Wisconsin-Iowa game is going to win the Big Ten West. Yeah. But the Big Ten West is without a doubt the worst division I've ever seen in my entire life. I think it's worse than the ACC when Virginia won it, when they went 7-6. I think that season. The floor, I still think, is 8 wins in the regular season because of how bad that schedule is. But some of the quote unquote gimme games or locks, they're not locks anymore. And I think that's where we're really going to be kind of, Iowa's going to be tested. And that's where I'm really intrigued to see how this team responds over the next couple of weeks, because I think Iowa has to win this weekend. I think they have to win next weekend. And, we'll see what happens when they go into Wisconsin. Because I still don't think Wisconsin is as good as a lot of people think they are. I think they have a nice system. Losing Ches Malusi is a big deal for them. Braylon Allen's obviously unbelievable. But the ceiling for this team is still competing for a Big Ten title. I still think they can win the Big Ten West. I'm still picking them. But, guys, you look at the offense, and there's just no reason for confidence right now. I don't see how you can have it.
Yeah, seriously. It was – between the Bears and Hawkeyes, it was quite a long weekend for me. But it is funny, though, the video that went viral last year when it was Big Ten coaches saying, what stat means the least. A good flip side, obviously Kirk went viral that video, but a flip side there is Mel Tucker also went viral for saying pass yards allowed means the least, because Michigan State has just sucked on pass D for, I don't know. So
it's been a few years.
Tucker got there, yeah.
Yeah. Even when they had Kenneth Walker and they had the 10-win season, they were still among the worst secondaries in the Big Ten. But they were winning games because Kenneth Walker was, I think, criminally undervalued on a national perspective. And he's off to a really good start with his career with the Seahawks, too.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a good bounce back weekend.
Hey, I want to throw some input in this, too.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think, like you said, we got fucking rocked. Shitty loss. That's a bad loss. Like you said, David, doesn't mean a ton for the Big Ten West, because there's still a clear path that we could make it to the Big Ten championship by beating Wisconsin and then having to steamroll everyone else, which should happen. Realistically, even though the Penn State game looked like shit, Penn State was better than us. They showed it. We were not ready to play them. And you kind of just have to move on. But I think even pulling the statistics out, I heard that statistic this morning of the guy said, it was punt, fumble, all that shit. And then they said the crazy statistic was they had 27 more plays they ran than we did offensive yards, which is absurd.
Here's the thing, Max. I took more flights to and from Happy Valley than Iowa had first downs.
Right. Exactly. And it's bad. And like you said, it does not give the offense confidence. But the thing about that kind of game is it was, like you said, such a bad loss that it is easier to move on from. It's not like it was like a 1-point game. We did some at the end of the game that fucked us. We got shit on. But it's a matter of we come back and think, put that in the past, it's completely gone. That was bad. If they come out and smack Michigan State, which as in the first two games, even the Western Michigan game, they have the potential to do it. And like you said, Forrester, their Michigan State's pass defense is dog shit. Their DBs are not good. The whole Tucker thing probably fucked them up a little bit.
Wild.
So everyone's in a scramble at Michigan State. So at this point, I feel like if they can just rail Michigan State and just run over them, steamroll them, I think it puts more trust and confidence in the offense going forward in the season. But I think it has to be they have to kick their ass. It can't just be it can't be an Iowa State game. It can't be 20-13.
Yeah,
that's a bad look, especially after how bad we lost. And even the Iowa State game, we should have won by a shit ton more. Because
Iowa dominated that game. Yeah. I don't care what the final score says. And I got in an argument with a bunch of the advanced stats guys on Twitter where I'm just they're like, how the game should have ended or how close games were. And they had Iowa and Iowa State as one of the closer games. I'm like, I love advanced analytics. Important to my job. I'm like, you did not. There's such thing as an eye test.
Right.
Watch the game. Iowa thoroughly dominated Iowa State.
Yeah. 100%. And which was needed because Iowa State is a dog shit team this year. They're just not good at all.
This is where I give Iowa State credit. I know people don't want to hear this. they made adjustments, man. Like they went more air raid against Oklahoma State. They let Rocco Beck throw the football. He did a great job. Jalen Knoll had a big game. Like they're trying new things on offense. And Iowa right now, they're not. And this is why I've said about, and you've been in the program, you can probably have some input on this too. And like that's the most maddening thing about it. And even like the media was pressing Kirk a lot today about the wide receiver targets. I did. Scott Dockman from The Athletic did. And my whole question to Kirk was essentially, how do you keep your wide receiver room engaged when they have 35 targets in 4 games?
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is the healthiest and probably the deepest the wide receiver group has been the last 3 years. Because, think about Keegan was hurt all last year. They had 1 scholarship receiver at the start of the year last year. And then, you get Caleb Brown from Ohio State. And this is what, makes me, Iowa, like me, I know Iowa fans, some of the Iowa media crazy, is the fact that Kirk is much more willing to throw young guys to the fire on defense than offense, because I will fight everybody on this. I think Caleb Brown has the highest upside of an Iowa wide receiver at least since I've covered the team. I think Brandon Smith probably had a say in that as well, because Brandon Smith was an absolute freak athletically. I don't think he pieced some things together. Or Max Cooper, of course. But why is Caleb Brown getting 1 touch in 4 games?
Yeah. The craziest stat I saw today was Army has more receptions than Iowa.
It's not even close. They have 1 guy that has 11 receptions.
Yeah, the one guy. And I think they started with 1 pass attempt this season in their first game.
Here's my opinion on that, and I totally I get what you're saying. I think on the defensive side, they know that they can do more things with more guys. Just because I don't know, I get what you're saying. And on the offensive side, I feel like if we can't get the run game started, because that is what starts our offense.
Yeah.
In general. If the run game's going, pass game's open. It's over. Game's over. If we can run the ball, we will win the game. Doesn't matter who we're playing. We could actually beat a lot of teams in this country if we can run the ball well, because that means our O-line is confidence. Cade will have time. It's going to throw the DBs off. But I think if the run game starts out bad, then there can be a panic mode on the offense we need to make sure this run game can get up and running. And if it isn't, we're fucked. And if we can get it going, then it opens up everything. But we're going to keep going and keep going and keep going until we can get it up and running. And we get to the point where we've ran so many plays that are just not going to help us get down the field because we're trying to open up the run game, that it just completely shuts down the offense.
And you saw that too, and for the Iowa State game, it was Seth Anderson on the missed throw at the end. But there were deep throws open towards the end. We were able to take more shots because we were running the ball so damn well that game.
Yeah, I think the receivers are getting more open than they've been. I think the Penn State game is still kind of an outlier, considering that, again, a lot of people want to throw Cade under the bus. And look, I think Cade right now is a problem. He has missed throws, but I also think that's a product of him not playing all last season, really. And then obviously the quad injury, that's clearly impacting him. I mean, I think I texted you, Jack, when Iowa ran that play action and Cade had that whole side of the field open. That was the slowest 18-yard run I've ever watched in my life. And that's not disrespect to him. That's just, you could tell he was not himself.
It's
for any other quarterback, I think it's at least a 30-yard gain. There was nobody close to him. It's
nerve-wracking watching him run because you're like, wait, get the first down, don't get hurt. It's such a weird roller coaster of emotions watching him get out the pocket.
But going back to what you're saying with the receiver, there is some crazy depth in the receiver room, and this is going, because honestly, I love Brian. Always will. And Brian has been. I mean, Brian was an O lineman. We have an O lineman as an OC coach.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people forget that sometimes. I was predominantly been a running team. I would say from my freshman year to now, how much we've opened up the pass game compared to what it was like before is a substantial amount compared to the old Iowa because they were very run first. And we're starting to get receivers that can get open, like you said. But like I think in the scenario, like I said, where the run's just not opening up, Brian knows as an O lineman, if we can't get our O lineman comfortable back there blocking the run, what's going to happen when we block the pass? And it showed, like we just got fucking torched. It was bad.
I'll say this too, and this is my opinion about Brian. And I've been pretty vocal about my opinion of Brian, but this is where it gets way too far and people get so irrational. I think Brian's a football genius. Brian knows the game of football. He knows how to develop talent. He cannot call plays. That's just my opinion. But like if people say, oh, he's an idiot, he doesn't know football. Ask anybody that's been individually coached by him or just watch him dissect a play. He will dissect an entire play for 30 minutes and not repeat anything. I've watched some of his YouTube clips of his coaching clinic and stuff, and it's pretty like he has a vast array of football knowledge. But at the end of the day, too, and this is where I think if Iowa doesn't make substantial gains, this is going to be the real question. You cannot have 3 years of this kind of lack of productivity on the offensive end, specifically last year and this year, without somebody being held accountable. Like right now, who's being held accountable for this offense? There's somebody that's being blamed for it, but they're not being held accountable. And I think that's at the end of the year where Kirk's really going to have to make a decision. I'm not even just saying with Brian Ferentz either. Like you cannot sustain a healthy football program with the defense and special teams doing what they do, because I wrote this in my post-game column. There's no program in the country that puts more pressure on their defense and special teams to create plays than Iowa, especially over the last year and a half.
Yeah, it is crazy. We'll end with some positive notes. I know you were in Des Moines last week with the interim athletic director, Beth Gertz. How do you say it? Gertz?
Getz. Yep.
All right, I was off. Two there. What have you seen? I mean, that's a pretty big change up, it seems like, especially how she has adapted with the swarm efforts for NIL. What have you seen there? It seems like a lot of positives from her.
I think she needs to get the job. I think they need to remove the interim tag. I think, just talking to people behind the scenes about her, she has made no enemies in her entire career. When you get, especially as a woman, to be that high up in college athletics and athletic administration, you can make some enemies because you have to be firm, you have to be bold, you have to be, confident and kind of being able to forge your own path. And the fact that, she was close with Brad Stevens. She was the interim athletic director, I believe, for Minnesota for a while. She was a finalist for the Wisconsin AD job. She was the athletic director at Ball State. And then once Iowa got her over here, I always think the plan was that she was going to take over. But even talking to, Brad Heinrichs, who's the Swarm Collective NIL guy, he just said it's a night and day difference between Gary Barta and Beth. Like Beth is a former college coach. She's a former standout athlete. Like she understands the modern college landscape. And I think Gary was good for a lot of reasons, especially in the fundraising crowd. But Iowa was never going to get to where they needed to get to in the NIL space and some of the more modern stuff surrounding college athletics under Gary, because that's just not the way he's wired. It's kind of out of his comfort zone. Like he never talked to Brad once when Brad was doing the collective. Brad told me he never got a phone call from Gary. And I'm like, that's just not healthy. And you think about where the Big Ten's going. You have Washington, who now all of a sudden could look like a football powerhouse. I think they're the best team in the country right now. In my opinion, I think they certainly have a case. You're getting, or you're getting USC, UCLA. Like these programs are all coming over, right? Like Iowa's in a very interesting position. Then you think about Beth Getz. If she does get the job, which again, I believe she will, she's likely going to be hiring a new football coach when the time comes. Not that, Kirk's looking to leave or anything like that. Probably a new basketball coach. Probably a new women's basketball coach, depending on how much longer Lisa Bluter wants to be there, and a potentially wrestling coach. Like this athletic director is the most important hire in the history of Iowa athletics. And I think Beth, what she's shown and kind of getting talk to people behind the scenes, I think she's shown a real big initiative. I think she's prioritizing NIL, and I don't think she bullshits. And I think not that Gary Barta was like that, but it's so refreshing from a media perspective to go into an athletic director press conference and not have a 15 to 16 minute opening statement where I'm tuning out 95% of what he says. Beth's opening press conference or opening statement was 82 seconds. And I'm like, this is beautiful. Just thank you. Let us ask you questions. So yeah, I think she gets it. I think that she understands the landscape. And I'm very interested to see if Iowa really does look at a couple other candidates, or if there's going to be like, you know what, Beth, go take it. It's your show. It'll be interesting.
That's crazy because, a lot of coaches are definitely going to retire, hopefully before the next athletic director's term ends, whenever that is. It means we're doing well in sports if they're there.
And she's young enough too. I think she's not even 50. So you get an athletic director that wants to be at Iowa, and you think about like the long-term plan. Like she's the type that I think could be 15 to 20-year plan. And if she's good at it, like that's exactly who you want taking over.
That's awesome. All right. Well, David, thanks. Oh, also live show, El Rey's. That's going to be next Friday already.
Yeah. Then what? Sway Lee has a free concert at the Pentecrest, like immediately after.
Yeah, that is
like that's insane that works. I think I texted you, Jack, like right away.
We should get Sway Lee on the podcast.
Yeah, may as well. I'll hit him up.
Maybe he'll join the live show.
Yeah,
he'll join the live show. Maybe he'll join the Swarm Collective.
That's right. Man. Yeah, we have some fun questions for you for that one. Hopefully a couple wins under our belt, and it'll be a very lighthearted. It'll be a blast at El Rey's.
I'm excited too. With Dallas Jacobus coming too.
Yeah. And he's
I met him I met him in Nashville. I was there with a couple buddies for SEC Media Days, and really quick story. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the song "Parked Out by the Lake" by Dean Summerwind. So long story short, it's a guy who was on American Idol, right? And he made it through TV rounds, etc. Got eliminated, but he got really hammered at a bar with a couple of his buddies, and he bet his friends he could write a hit country song by basically saying the same words over and over again by slightly revising them. So "Parked Out by the Lake" is like the same 12 words, slightly revised, in a 3.5 minute song. And it just went viral right when it came out. So at 1 a.m., I Venmoed Dallas Jacobus $40 to play it in a crowded bar on Broadway.
We'll have to have him play it next
I got the whole thing on video too.
Yeah, we'll get it live next Friday.
Oh God, yeah. Don't warn him with it. Let's just be like, hey, Dallas, we already playing mean, parked out by the lake.
Yes.
Like I guarantee you he'll say some shit too. It'll be funny.
We'll surprise him. That's awesome. All right, everyone, subscribe to 24/7 Sports Hawkeye Insider. That's David Eichel.
Appreciate it, guys.
Man on Melrose listeners, we have arguably the most famous, legendary Hawk in the history of Iowa football. His name's Brady Ross. And he actually went by Brady Ross Sam, but he changed his name. Give him a welcome. He's here. We're excited to have him.
Special opportunities makes challenges.
They make chest.
We have some chest right now. On the offensive side of the ball, and frankly on both. But I'm looking forward to breaking it down.
Absolutely. Brady's a wonderful mind of the game. We love having him on. He can break down.
How about that?
You know what I'm talking about? Come on.
What's left of my mind? Yes.
Hey, we love to hear it. But
what's going on, fellas?
Not a whole lot, man. It's pretty depressing. I mean, it's definitely better than Saturday night. Vibes were low. Not high.
Hey, this Saturday, though, it's a night game in Kinnick. Get right. Time to get right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's a question for you. So I was thinking about this. So we had Eickholt on. If they come out and just fuck up Michigan State, what are you thinking?
They might.
I know, but they come out. Is it because we mentioned this a little earlier or later, whatever that's going to be. But Michigan State's in fucking shambles right now.
Yeah.
In terms of their team, bunch of shit going on. Is it a valid win for us to go out there and kick their ass? And would you as a fan, I mean, you play there, obviously, you know what they go through after this kind of loss. It is easier to move on because it's such an ass whooping. Do you as a fan be like, okay, that's what I like to see. It's a good win. This is promising for the season. Or do you say,
I mean, it's on the schedule. It's who you can play. I think what we learned last week is that there's a big gap between a college football playoff contender and us. I think that's what, if there was any doubt about that going into the game, there isn't anymore. And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to stay that way. But as of right now, that's just where we're at. And, I mean, that's the one game on the schedule this Saturday, and it's really the only thing you can do is go out there and take care of business and hopefully not only win, but leave feeling like, okay, we actually took a significant step forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the good news is there's no one on our schedule from here on out that's even within spitting distance of, how good Penn State is, unless we make it to the Big Ten championship again. Which,
I was going to say, so that's the other point is it shows how good the teams are on the East side, obviously, which they always are. The positive thing that comes out of it is we're still in the West, and we can still make it to the Big Ten championship. We just need to show that we are, like you said, taking steps forward because, I mean, that's why I love Iowa. The crowd's going to be pumping on Saturday, even after that. It's a night game. It gives people a reason. Actually, thank God it's a night game because it gives people more of a reason to come out and be, like, fired up for it. Because if it was like an 11 o'clock game, I feel like it would not be as hype as it's going to be since it's a night game.
Yeah, no, especially it being Michigan State. And I'm sure I haven't looked, but I'm sure we'll be a double-digit favorite. Because they're a legitimately, I think, bad football team.
Yeah.
Now, we showed last week that we can't really call ourselves a good football team at this point, to be totally honest. But, man, being in the West, like you said, it is a very bad division, and that's the truth. So, yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing is we could legitimately go 11-1, 10-2. That could actually happen. I think we will probably be favored in every game except for maybe when we go up to Camp Randall. But no, this is really actually a very interesting game because you're looking at it with that, like you said, with that kind of sense of wonder of how exactly are we going to respond, and how good or bad really are we? Because Iowa State's probably not a bowl team. Utah State is whoever they are. I think they 70-balled somebody afterwards, but they're a mid-major team, and Western Michigan's bad, and we struggled against them for a while, and then we got stomped against Penn. So right now, the jury is kind of still out in the court of public opinion, and I think we could learn a lot as we transition into these first few Big Ten games that we actually have a chance to win. So
seriously, and what's nice? I was actually thinking about this. Is honestly, thank God that happened now and not like game 8. Because then it'd be like, well, we're not good if that's the case. Whereas this is a point in the season where you can learn from it. You can figure out what steps need to be taken to become a better team. And I mean, especially Michigan State's game, it's a Big Ten game, obviously. Every Big Ten game has its difficulties. But I still think it has to be a statement game. Like this, if out of any game the whole year, this game has to be the statement game. After that kind of game you come off of.
You just want to leave. Saturday night, if you're on the team, it doesn't matter what the hell we think. Really, we're not, nothing we can do to help. We just try to stay positive and support and enjoy it. But you really want to leave if you're a guy in that locker room, if you're a coach in that locker room on Saturday night, feeling better. Just that better feeling in your stomach, that just that dark cloud out from over top of you, because this thing could go really bad too. You go and lose to Michigan State. Now it's okay. There's some come to Jesus stuff that's going to have to take place, because we're in trouble. I don't think that's going to happen, but you can't let it happen. And so there, in a lot of ways, as you know, Coop, these games have a lot more pressure on them than last week did. Last week we were supposed to lose. I mean, you don't show up, you don't travel across the country to lose. But let's be honest, we were not supposed to win that game. Mm-hmm. We just weren't. Now, we weren't supposed to get 75 yards of total offense and have more fumbles than we had first downs. That doesn't feel good. But going into Saturday, there's a good chance, and every win feels good, but there's a good chance to, like I said at the onset, get right, feel a little bit better about things. And I'll say this, when I was one time I played in Happy Valley, we got absolutely curb stomped. I'm pretty sure by more than 31 points. I mean, I'd have to actually go back and look. We got destroyed. It was 2016. The next week we beat Michigan at home. Yeah. I think number 2 in the. So those things happen. Now maybe we put up 175 yards of offense. A little bit better, but yeah, no, there's a opportunity to play, man.
Yeah. And then thinking about it now, going back, was it 2 years? Was Spencer Nico? Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, 21. Yeah.
We went into that game. Graham was at home, night game, huge, big deal. We were 4, they were 3. We come out of that game victorious. We're number 2 in the country. At the point we were technically better than Bama. And then we go and lose to an unranked Purdue the next week. So it can happen both ways. So it is going to be interesting to see how they come back from it. But yeah, man. I mean, it was tough. It was a tough weekend. But what's great though is, even though we got shat on, I'm still looking forward to watching the game this weekend.
Yeah,
it's never going to change my opinion on it.
I don't think
it makes it more. I mean, maybe not, but in some weird ways, it makes it more almost interesting to watch, I think.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of has this weird high stakes feeling where, boy, you better not go lose to Michigan State at home after that.
Yeah.
But
I saw the line for Saturday. It opened at 6.5. Now it's 12.5. So I don't know if they are thinking the same thing. It's a statement game. But it is funny when we were talking about the schedule. It almost feels like the loser of the Big Ten West needs to be relegated to the FBS this year. The rest of the way, we just got our ass beat, and it was still wow, 11-1 can happen. But I did see. I want to get your take on this, Brady. A lot of people were like, even if we go 11-1, make it to Indy, do we want to go get embarrassed in the Big Ten title game? I mean, our take. We're big homers as well. I want to go play Michigan, fight them to the death. But I want to hear your take on how uneven it's been lately in these big games.
Well, I mean, most of the people saying that have never competed for anything in their life. Right, if we're being totally honest.
Seriously.
I mean, yeah, no, look, if we go and play Michigan, Ohio State or Penn State again, we probably will, statistically, you could say we probably will lose by multiple scores, and it might just be an absolute bloodbath like it was last time. It could happen, but you want to be in that fight. And like you said, fight to the. I mean, you'd rather be home on the couch.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't get it. I mean, you dance with who brung you. You are who you are. You know, you work all off season, run sprints, lift, you do everything from the time that you're, you know, in a lot of cases for these guys, you know, 5 years old, dreaming of playing big time college football, or more specifically for a lot of them for the Hawks. And this, you know, do we even want to go to the Big Ten? It's either a bunch of just absolute morons who have never competed for anything, or they're just being over dramatic and throwing a pity party, and you know, like they want to just, it's like it feels good to them to sit around and just sulk about how bad we are offensively. It's like, yes, yeah, I get it. Yeah, we are bad. We put some bad stuff on tape, like to a certain extent. Like, yeah, when you're dead last in several categories, like we're struggling. We are. But if you're sitting around just sulk, it's like, it's sort of like a form of, I don't know, mental, I don't know. It's like,
it's a loser mentality.
But it feels good. Like it feels good to them, I think. And it's just like, oh, I want to make another tweet about how bad, and you know, whatever. But no, do you even want to play in the Big Ten championship, man? I would give one of my legs to have played in a Big Ten championship game. And we were close a couple times, and you know, could never get there. And yeah, I mean, the East is a stronger division. It has been ever since back when they split the conference in two with the Legends and Leaders divisions. I mean, shoot, that was probably 12 years ago plus. I don't think the West has ever won a single one. Yeah, but I've also been around football to know that you get two Division I football teams together and you play one game. Were we supposed to beat Ohio State by 35 in 2017? No, matter of fact, I think we were supposed to lose by like 35. You know, you play one game, you know, you're in the game, you have a chance, and that's just it's a weird loser mentality thing that's going on with a lot of people. But I can promise you, I hope at least, I can't promise you because I'm not going to act like I'm in the locker room, but I hope those guys aren't thinking that way. That's all I can say.
Hell, even as a fan, I'd give a leg to go back. The weekend in Indy, I don't know. Did you go, Brady, in 21?
Did not.
Indy is a great sports town, but when they host the Big Ten championship, it's like, would you rather watch it at like on your couch somewhere with your team not in it, or have the chance to go as a fan in Indy? It was a blast, man.
Well, that's the thing. That's another counter. Like I don't understand how you could say, yeah, well, I'm just happy we're not there because we'd be embarrassed. Like, if you get there, you're fucking in the Big Ten championship. Like you're playing for a championship, and someone could say, like, I will give a perfect example. Everyone from Wisconsin that I know, when we went to the Big Ten championship, said you didn't deserve to be there. And it was like, guess what? Maybe we didn't, but we were there. And where were you, fucker?
Yeah, apologize to no one.
You weren't there.
You lost in the West. You won the West.
Yeah, you lost to PJ Fleck. Shout out Fleck, the GOAT.
Did they lose the Northwestern?
No, they
Yes.
yeah,
on Saturday
in Minnesota. Oh, you're talking about in general. You're saying this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
the
lost
last weekend on Saturday.
Okay, I switched back and forth a couple times. So it was, you know, wide out Happy Valley. And then it was commercial, whatever. And I'd switched to that game. And it was like weird. Like you could hear the PA announcer. You could hear like the music playing. It was like a practice. The difference of those two environments is just insane.
The greatest highlight from that game is Northwestern stormed the field, and there were maybe like 30 students. There were more players than students in the field storming.
Yeah, it is crazy that people. I know exactly what you're saying, Brady. Like, there's people that will want to prove you wrong by talking about how shitty their team is, and it's like, what are you getting at?
And it's like, listen, it's obvious. Like, I'm not arguing with. I'm not going to sit here and gaslight and like say no. Actually, the offense is pretty good this year. Looking pretty good. You know, off just a couple plays here and there. Like, no, I'll grant you that. Yeah, it's been bad.
Yeah.
You know, but what are we doing? Like, why are we? You know, I mean, I guess you can argue about whose fault it is and who should be fired and this and that, or like, whatever people talk about. But I mean, I don't know, man. I just think it's more fun to
be positive.
Try to be positive and just understand that you have absolutely no input. You haven't pushed a single fucking prowler all off season.
Yeah.
You have no what you show up, cheer, boo, whatever you want to do, but you don't have delusions of grandeur. Your opinion does not really matter. So it just
another positive of the game. Just significantly increase the chances of Torrey getting the Ray Guy award. I mean,
he had good numbers.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He had 48. He's averaging 48 yards off 12 punts.
Even
and I think he had was it
pinned
more?
Him deep once? Pinned him deep early. I
mean, he pinned someone inside the 1. I think he had 6 inside the 20.
His final stats were 7 punts, average 52.3, long of 62, 4 inside the 20.
Yeah,
if we had him when I was there, I mean, I would have probably been a Big Ten champ. I'd probably be flashing my ring right now.
Yeah,
would have won it all.
100%.
He's unbelievable.
He's incredible.
He's unreal.
Dude, the crazy part is he's not kicking spirals. He's hitting 62-yard bombs off an end over end.
I remember at the Penn State game in 21, I was there, and it was a timeout, and he's out there it's 4th down or about ready to punt, or maybe it's 3rd and long or whatever. He's picking up turf, throwing it in the air, starting to gauge. The whole team is over here. He's calculating the wind circulation so he can hit his helicopter thing and play. I mean, it's just, dude, it's crazy how it's wild.
It's incredible, and he actually. When you're watching a punter go, it doesn't seem like they're trying to pin it. I'm trying to make this sound right. They're not trying. It doesn't make it seem like they're trying to actually put it inside the 5. It seems like they're just punting it to punt it. Torrey is going out there and saying, "I'm going to put this in the left corner, and it's going to go out of bounds on the 3-yard line." He's doing that.
And not to take anything. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. What he does is incredible, and there's a lot of really good Australian punters. But when you think about it, it makes sense that somebody could be that good if they literally just grew up and that's what they did.
Yeah.
In the U.S., back when all the punters were from Nevada High School and whatever, Guttenberg, it was a secondary thing. You played receiver and then hey, who can kick it the furthest? And, whatever. That's how we treat punting in the U.S. from youth up. Over there, apparently, I've never seen an Australian football game, but that's what it is. So it makes sense that, if you can throw a ball with precision, you practice it your whole life. Why not? But boy, I'm glad he's on our team. That's I know Iowa State thought they had the best punter. The announcer of the Iowa State game said they might have the best punter in the country.
I actually looked it up today. He is the number 1 punter in the country right now.
Distance wise, how do you?
His average is the longest off the most punts, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's averaging 51 yards off of 22 punts, and then I think Torrey's 6 with I want to say 17 punts. I think he's at 47.8 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how accurate that website is because someone was behind me saying completely different numbers that I was way off.
And it's nuanced too. Hang time. Do they have a chance to ever return it? I know Florida had a kid, I think Townsend, who punted in the NFL for a while. We played him in the bowl game. And he hit absolute nuke shots, but there were a bunch of return yards against them at Florida because he'd kick it 69 yards, but was out kicking the cut.
Yeah.
And then the okay, we have it at the minus 45 and you have a guy or the plus 45, whatever, and you have a guy that can 9 times out of 10 get him to start inside the 3. As a former fullback, I can tell you that sucks. That is not. It's like Jesus. Yeah, but no, he's good for him.
Wait, did you ever? So I actually heard about that game, the Florida game. This is a little off topic, but did you ever have to? Were you on punt return or on punt team that game?
God, I think so.
So you were tackling Antonio Callaway.
God, that was. I mean, I wasn't tackling shit, honestly, but that was. If I was. I don't remember. I think I was in the Shield that year.
Because I heard he was.
So like if I'm making a tackle in the Shield, regardless, it's not good because.
Yeah, he's got like a 7-yard return. You guys, not great.
They had talent. Both times in the Outback Bowl, like people say the SEC is overrated and stuff, but as far as talent goes, like, dude, it's it's different.
Here's my
Mississippi State was even freakier. I still have no idea how we beat them.
I literally had that conversation with someone yesterday. I was like talking about it because like I love to shit on the SEC. I'm a big person of that. And honestly, in my opinion, if like I think the difference between Big Ten football and SEC football is that SEC takes guys that are more raw, and there's raw freaks. Like they're 5 stars. They come out of high school. They can play. And the good SEC schools can actually coach them and develop them into players that are good. And the shitty ones just keep them as raw talent. And they go out there and they can make freaky plays, but they can't make simple blocks. Big Ten, every single person gets the same coaching. Everyone's gritty. There's a couple guys on each team besides Ohio State and Michigan and sometimes Penn State that are not like 4 or 5-star athletes, and they can get coached into players who play like 4 or 5-star athletes. So I think the difference is you get the talent straight out of high school in SEC, you develop in the Big Ten, and there is a difference when you can develop a 5-star player into an actual polished player. And like the Mississippi State game, we were going up against 2 first-round draft picks who were both over 300 pounds. One was 6'9", one was 6'4", and were freaks. And then you looked at the receivers. I mean, every receiver was over 6'4". Like, and then Fitzgerald was 6'5". He was a leading rusher in the SEC. And the reason why we won that game is because we didn't have any penalties. And we also played our ass.
And it was just like, and Hawkinson had a few like rookie mode Madden games. But that's a perfect example right there. Like about the going to the Big Ten championship and getting killed or not having a chance. Like we did not have a chance to beat Mississippi State.
No.
And we beat them. Like, it can happen. You play one game, whatever. It's a bowl game. I don't know. But no, they say the same thing, but guys older than me, about Tennessee when they played them, and they just got murked by like literally 50 in the bowl game. I think there was a time they played LSU.
Oh, that was with OBJ.
They had OBJ and
Landry, Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, just like it's insane.
Wasn't that was
pretty sure,
wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, we beat them in the 05 Capital One Bowl, but
that was the
9
greatest game.
Jamarcus Russell came in.
It's like him, Joseph Adai was the running back.
I mean, I don't know. But Mississippi State, I'm pretty sure Mississippi State had a DN that ran a sub 4.3 40.
It was Montez Sweat.
Yeah, you're like a 4.2 7 or something. Yeah,
he was a transfer from Michigan State. He was actually, I think he was on the team when my cousin was there. Or no, maybe it was after that. But dude, I'm telling you, Michigan State gets recruits and then just loses them when they get there. Fucking the FSU receiver who's going crazy is a transfer from Michigan State. That Keon Coleman dude, he's a freak. And he's from Michigan.
They had that running back that was unreal that they held on to.
Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there for a year.
Oh, he
transferred in.
Yeah, he was a grad transfer from Vandy. He ended up being like one of the best running backs in that class.
Yeah, he was good.
But
recruiting is weird, dude. It's hard.
What do you think of what's your opinion on the old NIL transfer portal. I haven't really talked to you about this before.
I don't know. My position has always been, if coaches can pull Lincoln Riley and just, they're going to pay me more, I'm going to just up and leave 2 weeks before the season. Or like, if coaches can do that, why can't the players do it?
Yeah.
And I always thought, and I wouldn't probably have been worth jack if I was, playing in the NIL thing, but I've always just found it a little bit. I thought that, someday we're going to look back. I thought this when I was playing. Someday we're going to look back and think, really, the coaches were making millions of dollars and the players were getting suspended for getting a free candy bar or whatever the hell you hear about. Like, really? Like, I don't know. To me, and as a college kid, when I got put on scholarship and got the $1,600 stipend every month, I thought I was like rolling in it anyway. But I don't know. To me, it's I don't know if it's good, bad, or anything, but I think it probably makes sense.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where it's going to go, because I feel like right now it really is who can adapt well as a coach, who can be with the new ways as fast as they're moving. I mean, obviously Deion's done a good job of that, but they got fucking housed against Oregon because Oregon was a significantly better team.
Yeah.
That was like one big thing. Deion got a shit ton of transfers, but like they don't really have that much depth after. And I've told people this, like before the season, I heard some podcasts and some guy was talking about how even though they have Travis Hunter, both the Sanders, and that they have a running back and they have another receiver, like outside of those guys, their depth in their team is there's no one. So like if someone gets hurt, like Travis Hunter, you start double teaming the other receiver, it's over. Like in even like that game, but obviously it's a brand new team. They're not going to do anything against a team that's averaging like 50 points a game right now in college football. Like Oregon is
up front, they're not any good. I haven't watched every game they played, but we can speak, firsthand that when you're not good up front, it's tough. And that's just, I don't know. That's the thing I think people are starting to figure out with our struggles so far, which hopefully we get ironed out, is that I kind of was saying it all year last year, and people look at you crazy because people don't know ball very much, but in my opinion, very strongly, the problem last year, and don't get me wrong, I'm happy Cade's on our team. I think he's a damn good player. I think he's going to help us. But the problem last year was not the quarterback. I mean, it just wasn't. And I think that Saturday especially, kind of gave a glimpse into that. And we got on this topic by talking about Colorado's struggles and how they have some incredible skill guys and stuff, but not calling out any position or any player or anything like that. But I mean, there were times last year and certainly Saturday where I felt like you could put Patrick Mahomes back there, and I'm not gonna say it wouldn't matter. Like, it probably would have helped. I mean, he's a generational talent, but I think a lot of people would be surprised. Just how little it did. It's offensive football. It's an 11-man game, and I think the good news is the guys in the building know what we have to work on, and hopefully they can do it, because they're not easy problems to fix overnight. But I don't know. We'll see. It was a hell of a wake up call if they needed it, which they probably didn't, but.
Yeah.
It just sucks. I don't know.
It does, man.
Dude, it does feel like the world's ending when Iowa loses. Like on Twitter, and until you are like, all right, we can win this week, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Win is the sort of the antidote to everything, but I don't think a win this Saturday is enough to shift the court of public opinion
Right.
a win alone. I mean, it's got to be a win with style points. And truth be told, public opinion, again, it doesn't really matter much because the games are still going to sell out. And like we mentioned, and until that happens, because once that does stop happening, okay, that's when it starts to matter.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, it is a business. And when you got empty seats, that really the only voting power that matters is the almighty dollar bill. And as long as seats are selling out, which I think they're going to be, it just doesn't matter, man. So just hope for the best and, be supportive. That's my take on it. That's at least what I tell myself. I'll be there Saturday.
Yeah. Go get him a beer. Go get him a couple beers.
Yeah.
Who?
Brady Ross, you.
Oh, get me a beer? Get myself a beer?
That would be sweet if someone came up to you who listens to this podcast and got
you're telling the audience. Yeah.
Or you get yourself a beer. Same thing.
Have you tried the Storm Beer?
I did. I did last home game, Western Michigan. I grabbed one. It's not bad.
Was that the main beer people were drinking in the stadium?
No, I think it's. Have you tried it?
Yeah,
I haven't.
It's a little crafty.
It is.
And
it tastes like an IPA.
Little IPA, not super IPA, but it's got a little bit of that hoppiness to it. I don't know. It was all right. I think most people stick to because I do think it's like literally double the cost of Busch Light and Coors Light and all that. They had like domestic, they had premium, and then they had like super premium. And I'm assuming that's what that was. It was like 14. I want to say it was like 14, 15 bucks a can in the stadium.
Jeez. They're probably still making bank off it too.
Did they get rid of Bud Light? I know that used to be huge in the stadium.
I'm assuming there's still Bud Light too. I don't know. I try to stay sober, when I'm in there because my seats are nice though. Usually I hate going to games, honestly, because you hear, all the, people who don't know what cover 2 is, but know exactly what we should be doing out there, voicing their opinion. But I'm in the north end zone where there's no one behind us. There's 3 rows ahead of us, so I don't have to stay 100% sober as a nun to stay out of trouble, but better safe than sorry.
Oh, see, I fucked up with that. I went way too hard. I tailgate way too hard. I got in the stands. It was me, Henry, and his girlfriend. Dude, I was like screaming like that. I'm trying to think of what game the first game I ever went to was Iowa State last year when they lost. That was the first game I ever went to as a fan. And I'm like, I was like, me and Henry were calling out shit from this. Dude, we were like so mad. And then we went to Wisconsin, which was a blast. That was a fun game. That was me, Easley, and Daphne. We're all sitting with like Nico's parents. That was a fun game. Also hammered at that game. But I mean, it's probably best to stay sober as possible, just because I totally agree. You start hearing shit, people booing, people saying stuff, and it's like, you don't get it. Like, you don't understand. Like, they'll say one thing's a problem, that's not a problem. The other thing's a problem, that's not a problem. Obviously, there's plenty of problems, but that's just not right. Like, it drives you crazy, man.
And I'll speak out of both sides of my mouth. Like, I've said some stuff that just be supportive and chill out and all that stuff. But in reality, I am happy that people are nuts and yelling. Yeah. And even if it's the most asinine nonsense of all time. Because if everybody acted like I do at games, Kinnick would be a library. Like, I just sit there. I don't do the IOWA thing. I don't know. It's not my thing. I don't know if it never really has been. I'm kind of like a boring, dry old man when it comes to that stuff. But I'm telling you, if everyone acted like me, like it would be, you could hear a pin drop, like even after a big play, like I'm in it, But no, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Those people who are tweeting the stuff that just makes your brain explode. Which, by the way, I had to delete Twitter after Saturday off my phone. Are the same ones that do make it such a great environment. Otherwise, it's like the big house. And you have 100,000 people, and it's like not even cool. So.
Dude, totally. Like it's just so boring. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Yeah. Wait, so North End is a new end zone, right?
Mm.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's sweet. That's a sweet spot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're right above. We're not the club seats. We're like right above them.
Okay.
But yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Well, hey Brady, we appreciate you coming on, man. We'll get you out of here. I know it's been a long conversation, but hey, it's a conversation that has to happen. And hopefully we come back this week, make a statement, make some strides in a positive direction. So Brady, appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely. Anytime. Sound.
I'll do it.